Hello, hello, hello. You are tuning into another episode of The Wunderkind Show. Christmas edition. Merry Christmas, everybody. For all new people, you're tuning into The Wunderkind Show. I'm your host, Nitro. Today's topic, yesterday's game recap. And look, we won yesterday. We did. We won. We went. We handled business how, you know what I'm saying. We got what we went there to get. A W. Keep this boat moving. Here's my problem. Because you're going to hear them. And I think there was 3 detrimental problems that can uphinge what we're trying to do moving forward. And I think it's about 3 or 4. I think I'm going to go into 4. So there's 4 things I'm going to break down for today. The first one is play calling. Tyler Huntley is not the runner that Lamar Jackson is. Lamar Jackson, as a pure runner, is a top 3 runner in the entire NFL. He's on the level with the Derrick Henrys and the Chubbs as a runner. Like a pure runner. That's what level he's on. Okay? That's number 1. And the reason why I made that number 1 is because you're putting our QBs in unnecessary harm. Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins are eating. Eating is an understatement of how they are gashing the other team on the ground. If those 2 are able to carry the load, why are you then running the ball with your QB and giving him unnecessary hits? Do y'all know yesterday that the QB, Tyler Huntley, the one that was just concussed, right? Concussed. And was placed back out there to run between the tackles, right? Ran the ball 11 times, the same amount as J.K. Dobbins. Why? Now I want to reiterate this. Why? You know that we're thin at the position. Do you know what that tells me? That means to tell me you don't even respect Huntley. It's one of 2 things. You either don't respect Huntley and you believe any running quarterback you can make look special, or athletic quarterback you can make look special. Or number 2, your offense cannot work unless somebody at the quarterback position is running. It's one of the 2. It can't be nothing else. Imagine how foolish you have to be. And this is what I'm saying, why I don't believe when people say, oh, we won yesterday, for all you detractors. But how did you win? It matters. Think about it. Think about what we're going through right now. You know that we're down Lamar. Last week we were down for part of the game, Tyler Huntley. So what do? You run him in between the tackles. And he got hit like 2 times where it was like, ooh. Because he's not able to mitigate and make those subtle shifts so that he doesn't take a big hit like Lamar can. Lamar will dip down and just get down. And they'll just drop on it. Right? It's not a tackle. They just to make sure he's down. That's a problem. Because you're willing to then put our quarterbacks in harm's way even when they don't have to be. That's a problem. Number 2. This is number 2. We're still refusing to run in the red zone. Why? Gus Edwards yesterday was averaging, I believe, 10 yards a carry. Like 10 yards a pop. He had 100 yards on like 9 or 10 attempts. And what do? When it gets to the 10-yard line, you forget that you can run the ball. You forget you could just give it to Gus to let him go get the touchdown, or give it to JK and let him go get the touchdown. And the only person that was able to run along there that you allowed to run is a QB. So, remember, that's number 2. The reason why I have a problem with that is this. It kind of seems like you guys are trying to build up Tyler Huntley to the level of Lamar Jackson when you profoundly know that he's not. It's almost like they're lost in their own sauce. Like, oh, we made Lamar. We built this around him. We give it, we can take it. God complex. I know some people have heard that thrown around. When you have the opportunity, this is the National Football League. When you have opportunities to punch it in, you take thus opportunities. You don't waste them and say, we'll take 3. Y'all learned y'all lesson real quick when y'all thought, oh, we got automatic tuck. Right? Right. So my thing is, you have to be consistent. If you say you're going to be a running team, then run the ball in the end zone. One day, nope, there's no way they can stop you. If they're not stopping you, then just keep doing it. This notion where, oh, they can't stop the run, so what we're going to do, they're going to try to pass it 50 times. What kind of foolery is that? If they can't stop the pass, you kill them with the pass. If they can't stop the run, you kill them with the run. And on other teams, that might be like, look, you got to mix it up. Then you mix it up. I am Jamaican. I'm Caribbean. What we tell, there's an old saying in Jamaica that they like to say, what you give them for breakfast, you give them for lunch, and you give them for dinner. What that means is you force it down their throats till they can stop it. And even after these putrid offensive performances, you still refuse to do the common sense play. That means not only do you feel safe, not only do you feel secured, but you feel like you know all. And your word knows best and is the final say so, which is absolute delusion at its finest. But I digress. Number 3, special teams has looked atrocious. Atrocious. Yesterday, we kicked no balls into the pause. We kicked no balls into the end zone. That's number 1. So there was always a return possibility. That's number 1. Number 2, another kick on consecutive games was blocked. Blocked. So my thing is, if you know what's supposed to be done and you're not doing it, you're part of the problem. Remember, that's John Harbaugh's side of the ball. That's where he says he shines. Do you know how bad this team is going to be? I want y'all to understand why this is number 3. Because it's always been an untold fact. Like it never has to be said. It's just known that even if we can't score, we can always settle for field goals 60 yards and in because we have Justin Tucker. What happens when that's no longer the case? And on top of that, to mitigate that problem, to make it even worse, you refuse to run the ball in the red zone. Smells like a recipe for disaster to me, especially when the competition ramps it up a whole nother notch. This is what I said, why I believe with Greg Roman and John Harbaugh. They have a high floor, low ceiling. Too many things have to go right for them to win. And yesterday, we had amazing help from the referees. You know what I'm saying? So I look at this and I'm like, man, with the way the refs were calling the game and the way we were running, we should have scored at least 30 points. At least 30. How much did we end up with? And I don't want to hear, oh, well, we ran out the clock at the end. No, we did not. No, we did not. They were trying to throw. That's what you're supposed to do, right? I know how some people go, oh, that's what we were supposed to do. They weren't even trying to do that because they threw it 3 consecutive times to Tyler Huntley. That's what I'm trying to say. Though that's a problem. This is what happened with the Seahawks when they thought that they were so smart and literally started outthinking themselves with the Marshawn Lynch play, and it was literally what destroyed the castle that they built. When you start trying to force a narrative by the way that you call a game, that's a recipe for disaster. There's no way anybody could tell me any different watching that game, because why would you then throw the ball when we've seen games where Lamar said, when they were like, yo, we're up, and they're like, run. Gus ran it 9 times. If they score, they score, but they ran it 9 times. They're not throwing it. We got the lead. We're up 11. 5 minutes left in the game. Why are you throwing? When Gus is picking up 6 yards, 9 yards, 12 yards. You tell me if I'm crazy noticing that. But I digress on that, right? So you see what the problems are so far that I had, that my takeaways for yesterday. And number 4, there were a lot of wide open passing plays that the Atlanta Falcons did not take advantage of. And when I mean wide open, I mean wide open. That's a problem. The last thing you want to do for a opposing offense going into the playoffs is get them easy points. Drake London yesterday should have had 150 yards, 160 yards. There were three passes that were just either overthrown. And when I mean, listen, I'm not saying, oh, he could have made a play. No, I'm saying he has a 4 to 5 yard difference. He's their star receiver. A 4 to 5 yard separation on the nearest defender, and there's no safety in the middle of the field, and he is wide open. In the NFL, that's wide open. And they didn't miss him once. They missed him 3 times. And all 3 would have went for touchdowns. That's a problem. A big problem. Because bad QBs never make you pay for bad defensive play. That's the problem I have. I feel like this defense gets a lot. I'm not saying they're bad, but they get a lot more. Oh, they've been holding people, you know what I'm saying, to how many points since, Roquan's came. Who have we played since Roquan's came? Like, think about it. Who are the teams that we've played since Roquan's been here? And we've lost. It's just like he has yet to face that defense. I mean, yeah, they did an amazing job on Joe Burrow at the beginning of the season. That was an absolute masterpiece. Do you think you guys can do it again? Do you think that Joe Burrow's not going to make you pay when someone's wide open? Do you think Josh Allen's not going to make you pay if somebody's wide open? Do you think Patrick Mahomes is not going to make you pay if somebody is wide open? These are the questions. The problem is that Raven fans are so okay with being here. Mediocre. Oh, we're good. We won 10 games, 11 games. That's good enough. We made the playoffs. I mean, I'd rather do that than have, than some of these other teams. It's about winning Super Bowls at the end of the day. You go and ask Ray Lewis. There's only 2 seasons that he doesn't look at as failures. And both those seasons ended in Super Bowls. Every other season, no matter how good his stats were, no matter what he might have garnered for individual accolades, he would say, he's like, yo, it was a failure of a season. When have we become so content with being subpar? And subpar is a fluid term, right? Because so we're not talking subpar like 7, 8. No. We're playing bad teams and we're beating bad teams. The problem is we're not blowing out bad teams. We're barely beating the bad teams because all we've faced in the last 6 weeks are bad teams or subpar teams. Jacksonville is not a great team. Giants are not a great team. The Falcons are not a great team. The Browns are not a great team. These are the teams that we faced. They're not great offenses or anything that can really challenge your defense. We know what those look like. Those are the Miamis, the Buffalo Bills. You guys know. Because we lost those games. Remember? So my problem is that they have yet to rectify the problems that plague this team. The problems are being masked by wins against poor competition. That's a problem. And if y'all don't see it, that means y'all are part of the problem. Because we're not holding them accountable for thus poor coaching, thus poor preparation. I don't know about you, but I don't want to be one and done in the playoffs. I don't want to win one game and be out. Or just make it and lose the first game. That's not the way that I envision our playoffs. If we're not making it to the AFC Championship game or further, that's a problem for me. You have to make changes so you can. Now, where it does work out in our favor, the weather has been atrocious. Atrocious across the entire United States. So, a lot of people don't like playing in that cold weather. That's snow. And it seems it's going to be a problem in January and February because we know it ramps up in January and February. So that works out to the Ravens' favor. But then if you go back to problem number 2, we abandon the run, even when it's working to devastating effects. That's a problem. That's a problem. Hey, look, we got the W. We did what we had to do. But it's the way that we look that bothers me. Because the help from the refs that we usually never get, especially against good, we never get help from the refs. The bad play calling, all those things, the bad throws by Tyler Huntley, 2 of the throws should have been pick sixes. 2 of them. There should have been 3 interceptions in that game. They dropped 3 interceptions. 2 of them were clear pick sixes. We got some work to do, guys. We got some work to do. And hopefully, I'm praying that we can get it done properly, fastly, and quickly. But that was another episode of the Wunderkind Show. You guys can be anywhere else in the world, but you're here with me. You guys know I appreciate that. Please remember, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Come on. Join the Wonder Flock. Hashtag Wonder Flock. Another thing, as you can see at the bottom of the screen, right on this side, right, you can see the QR code for the Wunderkind Show. If you would like to donate, help for the channel to grow with better content, changing scenery and stuff like that, please, you could donate. Your name will be put out and called out when you do for the amount and stuff like that, and I will be reading it off and things. So if you would like to help the content and the channel, that's how you could do it. And if you look down in the description, right, it's down there. It's down there also. Money sign, the Wunderkind Show, Cash App. So Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good evening. This is the Wunderkind Show. This is Nitro signing off, and you guys know my slogan. Peace. And I am Mal. God bless. See you tomorrow. Yep.